MMA Rants and Raves, UFC 112. Matt Hughes versus Renzo Gracie. Guys, let's go over this fight. Beginning of the fight, these guys are going at it. It's strictly stand-up. I would say for the first and second rounds, it's mostly Matt Hughes who seemed to dictate the fight. And Matt Hughes obviously used his superior athletic ability to take advantage of the situation. And it was a really interesting game plan. I really got to take my hat off to Matt Hughes, who's traditionally a wrestler, a really good wrestler too. And what he did here was he was using a strategy to actually stand up with Gracie rather than try to get things to the ground. And great strategy. He just started throwing a lot of leg kicks. You look at the first two rounds, it was leg kick after leg kick, and most of the third round too. And he was just methodically wearing out Gracie. And eventually, he just couldn't take it anymore. It was a strategy like you chop a tree down. You can't chop the tree down with just one chop of the axe. You need to keep on doing it and doing it. The tree is very strong. And then eventually, it starts to wobble. And that's what happened. If you look at Gracie at the end of the fight, he just had nothing left in that leg. He couldn't stand anymore. It just shows his heart. He kept on getting up, and he had nothing to stand on. He had literally no legs to stand on anymore. It was just a good strategy by Hughes to do that. And of course, Hughes is a really big guy. He was taking on a lot of size and solidity. And of course, he's a younger guy. He's a superior athlete. Hughes is really big for a welterweight. He looked like a middleweight out there standing next to Gracie. So, it was a pretty good strategy to do that. And then, basically, finally at 204, I would say, 2 minutes and change left, you could see him wobble at 204. That kick just literally took the legs out from under him. He fell down. And Hughes, again, really smart. He said, look, this guy's a jiu-jitsu black belt. He has his own training academy, his own gym. He said, I'm not going to get on the ground with this guy. Why should I? Even though he's a wrestler and he would kind of still be in his element, he said, I'll just keep on standing up with him. His fight's over. He gets up, I'll just keep on kicking him. And that's what he did. And he got the victory. Really smart. I saw an element in Hughes' game that I haven't seen a lot of. He stands up with guys, but this was really interesting that he did this. He's known to be a wrestler, and he just strictly stood up with Gracie. So, it was a really interesting fight. It was a brilliant game plan by Matt Hughes, and an impressive victory. I would like to see more of Matt Hughes. I mean, you're talking about a welterweight division that's really competitive, and from what I'm hearing, it looks like it's almost in the books, I guess. If GSP faces Silva, GSP may vacate that title. I don't think he's going to face Silva as a welterweight. So he vacates the title. You're talking about a very competitive welterweight division, a stacked welterweight division, in my opinion. You got guys like John Fitz, Josh Koscheck, Alves is back, and this guy Paul Daly, I think, is some other new guy, new kid on the block. It's also impressive. So it's a very, very impressive welterweight division. And, boy, a lot of good potential fights for Matt Hughes. I would like to see Matt Hughes fight a lot of guys. Oh, of course, I forgot to mention Dan Hardy. Even a Dan Hardy matchup, or Koscheck or Fitch, any one of these guys. It would be really interesting. I don't know if Hughes is ready for a title shot yet. He just came back. Guy's been gone a year. There was no ring rust at all. He looked really good. He looked sharp. His cardio was good. It was an impressive win. So I'd like to know what you thought about the fight, what you thought about Hughes, Gracie, and everything else going on in UFC and UFC 112. Please leave your comments, rate this video, please subscribe, and thank you for tuning in.